the one and only Eddie Kendricks,
I'm
Dennis Edwards, and David Ruffin, The Temptations.
Sound production, take one.
They were slated for a comeback, a big comeback. After a successful month-long tour of England and another European tour in the works, things were finally looking up, and the world was not ready for what these three gentlemen were cooking. But a few weeks after these performances, the unthinkable happened.
In Philadelphia, police say former Temptation singer David Ruffin apparently visited the crack house in the hours before he died. Philadelphia police are searching for a friend of Ruffin's who drove him in a limo to the crack house and later dropped him off at a hospital shortly before he died Saturday morning. Police say a large sum of money in traveler's checks was missing from David Ruffin, though it's not clear if they were stolen or not. A Philadelphia TV station quoted a police source as saying that Ruffin had $30,000 with him when he went into a crack house.
With one piece of the jigsaw out of the picture, the thought of achieving something close to, or even better than, the classic five, that dream, was gone. And from then on, everything went downhill.
Hollywood is also mourning the death of singer Eddie Kendrick. He died yesterday of lung cancer. Kendrick was 52.
Eddie Kendricks died just a year later from vicious lung cancer.
I went to have a checkup, and the doctor told me that I had carcinoma, which is lung cancer.
And Dennis Edwards passed away some 27 years later from complications of meningitis, but not without some wild allegations surrounding his final days.
The death of Temptations frontman Dennis Edwards stunned the music world. Then a seismic aftershock, allegations that he was abused by his wife before his death.
Many stories have been told and theories drawn.
And he said, if y'all do another autopsy, one of y'all gonna be laying right next to him.
He had come off a tour with a briefcase full of money. No one is exactly sure what happened. Almost a week went by before the John Doe in the morgue was identified as David Ruffin.
I'm the one selling the records. They coming to see me.
They coming to see the Temptations.
Ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis.
Which is lung cancer. And I was shocked at first because I had no symptoms that I knew of.
Was there ever any abuse in the relationship?
Never.
But this is the untold, hidden story of the deaths of these three talented leads of the Temptations and the unfulfilled dream that was never meant to be. January 18th, 1989. The Temptations were finally given their flowers when they were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It was a special day, especially for David Ruffin, who was celebrating his 48th birthday.
Oh, David Jr., happy birthday, David Ruffin. Today is his birthday.
He seemed to be in deep reflection, looking back through the years.
You know, looking back through the years, when I first heard the Temptations sing, I knew right then and there that was a sound. And when I heard the Temptations sing, it reminded me of the spiritual background that I came from. And I really hope that somewhere in your heart that we have put a little love.
After a somewhat disappointing solo career, plagued by cocaine addiction following his firing from the classic lineup in 1968.
Ruffin has had problems with drugs since 1967. He was arrested in 1987 and 1988 for cocaine possession. He spent some time in a rehab center in Detroit in 1989, after which he said he was clean.
He never quite reached those same heights again. And in his reflection, he knew he couldn't do it alone. Just like before, true strength lay in partnerships.
And I still feel that we will get together now before it's all over and done with one more time again. It's just written sometimes in the sky that sometimes you need each other in more ways than just making money or, just singing, harmonizing together.
Having been touring as a duo with his good friend Eddie Kendricks, after being fired from the group a second time during the 1982 reunion tour, they still hadn't quite captured the success they were looking for. And that's where the energetic Dennis Edwards came in. Dennis, who, like David and Eddie, had his own share of troubles with the Temptations. Having been fired a record 3 times, found the offer to join Ruffin and Eddie very tempting. And without giving it much thought, he joined them. The coming together of these 3 gentlemen gave birth to something special, something that threatened to give the other Temptations lineup a real run for their money. Each of these brothers brought something unique to the table and were recognized as the voices behind some of the Temptations' biggest hits. No one could deliver Cloud 9 or Papa Was a Rollin' Stone like Dennis Edwards with his volcanically dynamic powerhouse vocals. No one could touch The Way You Do the Things You Do or Just My Imagination Running Away With Me, like Eddie Kendricks with his distinctive velvet smooth falsetto. And no one could carry My Girl or I Wish It Would Rain like the energetic David Ruffin, whose raspy, emotive, and anguished tenor was one of a kind. Blending the 3 together should have spelled disaster for their rivals, but their shared struggles with alcohol, cocaine addiction, and inconsistent work ethic also meant it could spell disaster for themselves. Only time could tell.
Is a thing of the past. Oh, yeah. Can't see how my hope's gonna last. Good things are bad, and what's happy is sad.
They began touring and recording under the name Ruffin Kendrick Edwards, former leads of the Temptations, something that didn't sit well with their former bandmates, Otis Williams and Melvin Franklin. Having trademarked the Temptations' name, Otis and Melvin sued them. However, the judge ruled that the trio could continue using the name under one condition: the word Temptations couldn't be bigger than their names in any promotional material. Back on the road, the 3 gentlemen proved the doubters wrong. Despite some minor issues, they remained disciplined enough to consistently show up for gigs. A determined David Ruffin even stayed clean and was beginning to look like his old self again. In 1991, they completed a successful month-long tour of England, grossing nearly $300,000. Each of the 3 was set to receive between $50,000 and $55,000, where $5,000 was in cash and the remainder in travelers' checks. And that wasn't all. The tour's success earned them another one, scheduled to begin in late June. A tour that would have seen each of them receive $100,000, double what they had just made. But there was one condition.
They say, man, they're going to double your money this time. And they want y'all to do 40 days. Rap deal. They want y'all to do 40 days. But David has to sign the contract.
And that's where the big problem lay. Unbeknownst to Dennis and Kendricks, David Ruffin had something else in mind. He wanted out. Whether he was planning to go solo or simply retire from the business, only he knew. David demanded all his earnings in cash and chose to stay behind in England while Dennis and Eddie returned to Detroit. Once he received his money, he flew back to Philadelphia, where he began avoiding Dennis's repeated attempts to get him to sign the contract for the late June tour. Sadly, it wouldn't materialize. On June 1st, 1991, David Ruffin allegedly died from an accidental overdose of crack cocaine after reportedly collapsing at a West Philadelphia crack house. Whether it was truly accidental or his drugs had been tampered with, many believed foul play was involved. Close friends and family pointed out that a money belt containing $40,000 in cash and traveler's checks was missing from his body. His daughter, Nedra, claimed David had promised to buy her a car just hours before his death. She also reported he had bruises on his body, bruises authorities later attributed to his body being dragged and shoved into a limousine on the way to the hospital. Just like that, the momentum the three men were building, something that could have brought us close to the golden era of the Classic Five, was gone. As for Dennis and Eddie, what followed, they weren't ready for it. Eddie Kendricks was arrested at David Ruffin's funeral for unpaid child support amounting to $26,000. He was later bailed out by Berry Gordy. But things only got worse when he was diagnosed with lung cancer, leading to the removal of one lung in October 1991. Sadly, just under a year after Ruffin's death, he succumbed to the disease on October 5th, 1992, at the young age of 52. As for Dennis Edwards, he lost his battle with meningitis 27 years later, on 1st of February 2018, just 2 days before his 75th birthday. However, his death was overshadowed by troubling allegations. Court documents filed by an Adult Protective Services investigator claimed that his wife at the time had abused him in his final days, allegedly attempting to suffocate him and removing his hearing aids. An emergency protective order was issued on January 18th, barring her from contact. She denied the accusations, stating she loved him and would never harm him. Though the claims were never resolved in court, they cast a dark cloud over the final chapter of a legendary life. The death of Dennis Edwards closed the chapter on three remarkable voices, and all we're left with is the haunting question, what could have been had it all worked out?